Hi guys, happy Monday. We're going to be looking at the next kingdom. Last week we went over kingdom Eubacteria, kingdom Archaebacteria, and kingdom Protista. Today we're going to do kingdom Fungi, and let's go over a few of the characteristics in that kingdom. They are going to be multicellular organisms, even though they're tiny for the most part. They are made of many cells. They are going to have nucleuses in their cells because they're eukaryote. And they're all heterotrophs, meaning they're consumers. They get their food elsewhere. They're not going to make their own. Some examples, like in this picture here, is yeast, B, mushrooms, and C, a disease called ringworm. It kind of eats off of whatever human it's on. But anywho, I do like Brain Pop for this unit because it really goes into each kingdom. And we're going to watch this Brain Pop, and please pay attention.
Monsieur, dinner is served. Grilled portobello mushrooms smothered in melted blue cheese and a light duck jus. Dear Tim and Moby. Dear Tim and Moby, why are funguses so gross? Sincerely, Princess. Not every fungus is gross. Ask Moby, he's eating some right now. Fungi are a diverse group of organisms that includes molds, microscopic yeasts, and mushrooms. They can be found in just about every environment on Earth, from forests to deserts and even beneath the ocean. Scientists believe there are more than 1 million species of fungi, and so far we've only identified a fraction of them. Well, they're kind of hard to categorize. Like plants, fungi grow in one place and can't move around on their own. But like animals, they're heterotrophs, which means they get nutrients by consuming other organisms. And like both plants and animals, fungi are eukaryotic, meaning each of their cells has a nucleus. Since they don't fit neatly into either the plant or animal kingdom, scientists created a separate category just for them, the Fungi Kingdom. There's a lot of diversity within that kingdom, from their physical features to the ways they reproduce. Yeah, most fungi share a few common traits. Zoom in on that mushroom. The cells of fungi are arranged into long, thread-like structures called hyphae. The cell walls are mostly made of chitin, a tough material that's also found in insect exoskeletons. Hyphae grow at the tips, forming an interconnected network called a mycelium, which makes up the main body of many fungi. No, unlike plants, fungi can't produce energy through photosynthesis. Instead, they grow directly on food sources like soil, wood, bread, even dead flesh. Once inside the food, hyphae secrete enzymes, chemicals that break down organic matter into nutrients they can absorb. The hyphae's thread-like shape gives them a large surface area to absorb as many nutrients as possible. Well, the bulk of a fungus usually grows out of sight, underground, or inside whatever it's growing on. In mushrooms, the only part we do see is the fruiting body. It's made of special hyphae that don't grow like the rest of the mycelium. Its only job is to produce spores, special cells used for reproduction. In some fungi, the spores reproduce sexually. They have to join with another fungus's spores to produce offspring. In others, they're asexual. They can reproduce on their own. Many species can produce both kinds of spores, and yeasts usually don't produce spores at all. Instead, they reproduce through an asexual process called budding, where a new organism grows from a parent's body and eventually splits off. By the way, bakers rely on yeast to make bread. You can't get away from fungi so easily, my friend. They affect our everyday lives in so many ways, bad and good. We've all heard about how some mushrooms produce deadly poisons, and how some fungi can cause skin infections like ringworm and athlete's foot. On top of that, fungi cause 80% of plant diseases. Still, life as we know it depends on fungi. They act as decomposers, breaking down dead stuff and recycling nutrients through the food chain. Then there are fungi that have symbiotic relationships or partnerships with other organisms. Many plants can't survive without special fungi that grow in their roots and help them absorb nutrients from the soil. And lichens, which are a combo of fungi and green algae, break down rocks into soil where plants can grow. We humans benefit from fungi even more directly. Most antibiotics, medicines that fight bacterial infections, are derived from fungi. And last but not least, we rely on fungi for food. Bon appetit.
Okay, so like that video told us, fungi are really important for us. Like they're in ingredients to bake bread. They are in I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. They are in decomposers that are really important to food chains because they absorb dead plants and animals, and that's really important in different food chains in different areas. The next little video you're gonna watch is here on YouTube. Thought it was a good little one that kind of went over the characteristics again, just in a different way.
Is made up of mushrooms, mold, yeast, and lichen. Fungi are very important to life on Earth, and many work with plants in a symbiotic relationship. The following are some basic fungi facts. Fungi have a nucleus and membrane-bound organelles, so they are considered eukaryotic. Most fungi are heterotrophs and get their energy from other organisms. Most are unicellular, but some, like yeast, is unicellular. Fungi cannot move about. Fungi may look like plants, but they are not plants, and they are different from plants in several ways. Almost all fungi do not have chlorophyll, so they cannot practice photosynthesis. They reproduce with spores, not seeds. Many fungi have cell walls made of chitin instead of cellulose like plants. Molds have cell walls of cellulose, so they are an exception. Many fungi break down decaying matter and absorb nutrients using a network of fibers called hyphae. Hyphae are tube-like structures that grow and cover a food source, which allows them to digest and absorb nutrients. Many fungi, like mushrooms, have a visible fruit which is easily seen, and a mass of hyphae called a mycelium, and most likely this mycelium is hidden from view. There are four main types of fungi. The first is zygomycota, and many of these fungi are molds. They produce spores on the tips of their hyphae. A common example is bread mold. Next are club fungi. They have a dome-shaped part where reproductive spores are produced. Common examples are mushroom. Next are sac fungi. These fungi produce reproductive spores in a sac-like structure. Common examples include yeast, mildew, and lichen. And finally, you have the imperfect fungi. This group is like your junk drawer of fungi. The fungi that don't really fit anywhere else go here. However, each of these fungi reproduce asexually. Athlete's foot is an example. And finally, fungi can reproduce both sexually and asexually.
kind of weird. You don't need to worry about this in the corner here at all. That's just kind of showing a different videos coming up. But anywho, it's kind of fungi and protist kingdoms are really weird. But fungi, I think, make a little more sense because they're involved in the food chains and stuff like that. But anywho, make sure that now that if you need to rewatch the video, rewatch it, but go to the to do for today on the agenda. Make sure you are there and see what you need to complete for today. And that's it. We have 2 more kingdoms after this, but those ones are easy. Um, so we'll kind of go from there. But in general, just make sure you complete what's on the agenda. And make sure you check your grades this week because I am recording 2 grades early on and you want to make sure you don't have any zeros. Alrighty, thanks.